Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsaf Parekh and I'll take you through the top 50 stories of the day. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin is in China. He said that bilateral ties with Beijing are at an unprecedented high level. Mishustin held talks with the Chinese Premier Li Qiang. Li said that China is willing to take pragmatic cooperation between the two countries to a new level. Mishustin is the highest-ranking Russian official to visit China since Russia invaded Ukraine. A court in Russia has extended the arrest of American reporter Evan Gershkovich. The arrest has been extended by 3 months. Gershkovich was arrested in March this year on espionage charges while he was on a reporting trip to Russia. The US government has said that the journalist has been wrongfully detained. Washington has demanded his immediate release. Ukraine is set to receive 100 support vehicles from Japan's self-defense forces. This comes after Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida promised to provide more aid to Ukraine. Ukraine's ambassador to Japan attended a ceremony at Japan's Ministry of Defense to accept the vehicles. Kishida's offer also includes food rations and medical care for injured soldiers. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Australia. During talks with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese, the Indian PM addressed the issue of vandalism of Hindu temples in the country. Albanese has vowed strict action against those guilty. He added that extreme actions against religious structures and places of worship would not be tolerated. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan has suffered a major blow. His close aide and a former minister, Shireen Mazari, resigned from Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party. Mazari also condemned the actions of PTI supporters who attacked sensitive defense installations across Pakistan on May 9th. Mazari served as the Minister for Human Rights from 2018 to 2022 when Imran Khan was Prime Minister. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is planning to announce his 2024 presidential campaign today. This is according to sources familiar with the matter. He's likely to make the announcement during a live audio conversation on Twitter with Elon Musk. DeSantis will be going up against former U.S. President Donald Trump to become the Republican Party's presidential candidate. And speaking of Donald Trump, he will face a criminal trial in New York on March 25th, 2024. The criminal trial will be held at a time when Trump's presidential campaign will be in full swing. Trump is charged with falsifying business records to conceal a hush money payment to an adult film star. The trial will take place when Trump, who's the leading Republican candidate for the 2024 presidential election, will be traveling across the U.S. to garner support. Bolivian lawmakers from the ruling and opposition parties engaged in a brawl in parliament. They hit, kicked and pushed each other during Interior Minister Eduardo del Castillo's presentation. Initially, the opposition showed banners during Castillo's speech. In response, ruling party lawmakers tried to remove the banners, which led to the brawl. In South Africa, deaths from cholera rose to 15 in the country's Gauteng province. Almost 100 people are seeking treatment, while 37 have been admitted to wards. Health officials have declared a cholera outbreak in the country. Meanwhile, South Africans blame the government for failing to provide clean drinking water. The Central African country of Chad is making efforts to boost security along its border with Sudan. This comes amid a growing influx of Sudanese refugees fleeing the ongoing clashes in the country. At least one person has been killed by a rocket strike on a refugee camp. Clashes in Sudan continue despite the warring factions entering a 7-day ceasefire. The World Health Organization has warned the world to prepare for future pandemics. WHO chief Dr. Tedros said that countries must prepare for viruses that could be deadlier than COVID-19. He added that the threat from other deadlier pathogens remains. This comes after the WHO declared that COVID-19 was no longer a health emergency. Raging wildfires in Canada's Alberta province have burned through over 1 million hectares of land. Almost 3,000 firefighters from the US and Canada have been battling the flames. Meanwhile, Australia and New Zealand have pledged to send their firefighters to aid the ongoing efforts. Residents of the US territory of Guam are bracing for the landfall of Typhoon Mawar. Meteorologists have categorized Mawar as a super typhoon, with winds crossing 240 kilometers per hour. They predict that the typhoon will be one of the most brutal storms to hit the region in decades. Meanwhile, American forces based on the island have sent their ships away as they brace for Mawar's impact. Torrential rainfall has caused flash floods across southeastern Spain. The flash floods come as heavy rainfall hits the region after a six-month drought. Excess water entered homes, submerged vehicles, and led to the closure of roads. Meanwhile, Spanish authorities have shut down schools and other public services. France has imposed a ban on short-haul domestic flights. This comes as the country aims to cut down on its carbon emissions. The ban prohibits flights between cities which can be reached via train in 2.5 hours. It affects flights from Paris to other major cities like Nantes and Lyon. However, climate activists say that the ban does not go far enough. Australia has put an end to logging in the native forests of Victoria State. The announcement comes 6 years earlier than previously planned. The government decided that bushfires and legal campaigns made logging economically and environmentally unviable. Meanwhile, new schemes will provide jobs to workers in the timber industry who will be affected by the logging ban. Chemical cocktails that are harmful to wildlife have been found in 81% of England's lakes and rivers. Over 1,000 water bodies have been contaminated with hazardous chemical mixtures. Rivers like the Thames, Trent and Medway have some of the highest percentage of chemicals. These chemicals are having a disastrous impact on fish, insects and other aquatic wildlife. Meanwhile, campaigners have called for the rigorous testing of waterways after realizing the scale of contamination. Protesters tried to storm the stage at energy giant Shell's annual shareholder meet in London. Shell chairman Andrew McKinsey was unable to start the meet as protesters shouted slogans while making a dash for the podium. At one point, dozens of security officials formed a human chain to guard Shell's executives. After being thrown out of the venue, the protesters gathered at the gates while shouting, "Go to hell, Shell." Over 100 protesters sat on the tarmac at Geneva airport. This was during Europe's flagship business jet event on Tuesday. Activists demanded a ban on private jets over their climate impact. They took up the issue of high carbon emissions per person associated with private jets. Meanwhile, the jet industry has said it would bring innovations to make flying more efficient. Researchers have found that climate-related disruptions pose a risk to water and energy supplies in 16 Asian countries. They warned that at least 10 Himalayan rivers face the risk of drought. This would disrupt the lives of over 1 billion people who are dependent on the river water. Additionally, drying rivers would lower hydroelectric power production, affecting energy supplies. UBS Group is in talks with Swiss authorities about loss projections related to its takeover of Credit Suisse. Some aspects of the merger of the two banks are yet to be ironed out. It has been said that the takeover was arranged hastily in March by the Swiss government. The White House has said that China's recent ban on US chipmaker Micron is not based on facts. China has said that it's banning Micron over national security concerns. Banning Micron is China's first major move against a US chipmaker. It comes at a time when tensions are rising between the US and China over semiconductor dominance. There's growing backlash in the US against China's decision to ban Micron. At the latest, a US lawmaker said that the US Commerce Department should put trade curbs on Chinese chipmaker CXMT. CXMT is one of China's leading producers of memory chips. Meta is selling Giphy to the online stock photo marketplace Shutterstock for $53 million. Facebook's parent firm will bear a significant loss on this deal. It bought Giphy for $315 million in 2020. The deal is expected to close in June. Shutterstock's shares rose nearly 2% on Tuesday morning amid the announcement. Billionaire Richard Branson's Virgin Orbit is closing for good. This comes as its main assets got auctioned for over $36 million. A California-based startup, Rocket Lab, has bought Virgin Orbit's rocket factory and equipment for over $16 million. Virgin Orbit will cease operations permanently just months after filing for bankruptcy. American retail giant Target is withdrawing some Pride collection products from its stores after facing backlash from some customers. The company has said that it's taking action to protect employee safety. Target had rolled out its Pride collection at the start of May. The retail giant has been celebrating Pride Month for more than a decade now. However, there have been recent incidents of confrontation between employees and some customers over the Pride collection. US-based artificial intelligence company Anthropic has raised $450 million from investors, including Google and Spark Capital. Anthropic is an AI startup that's competing with OpenAI in building AI foundation models. The latest round brings Anthropic's total funding to nearly $1 billion. The company has not disclosed its valuation. The Mexican government has said that it's looking at the possibility of buying a majority share in Citigroup's local retail unit, Banamex. Mexican President López Obrador said that buying the unit will be good for business. This comes amid rumors that Grupo Mexico's owner, German LEIA, is dropping out of the bidding process amid a dispute with the Mexican government. German music streaming service SoundCloud has announced that it will lay off around 8% of its global staff. The layoffs will affect 40 positions. This comes after the company had laid off 20% of its employees in August last year. SoundCloud CEO LEIA'S said that this is a challenging but essential decision to ensure the health of the business. Former professional basketball player Shaquille O'Neal has been sued over his cryptocurrency promotions. He's been accused of violating securities law by selling unregistered Astrals tokens. The lawsuit claims that O'Neal promoted the tokens despite being aware of potential regulatory issues. O'Neal launched the Astrals project in 2022. And now on to sports. Chennai Super Kings beat Gujarat Titans by 15 runs in yesterday's IPL playoff. The game was played at Chennai's M.A. Chidambaram Stadium. Hosts Chennai batted first. Ruturaj Gaikwad scored 60 runs as Chennai set a total of 172 in 20 overs. Gujarat started the chase strong. However, Chennai's spin attack caught the visitors off guard. They were bowled out for 157 runs. With the win, Chennai are through to the IPL finals. This is the 10th time in IPL history that CSK have reached the finals. West Indies batter Devon Thomas has been suspended for alleged match fixing. The International Cricket Council charged Thomas on 7 counts of corruption. 33-year-old Thomas allegedly agreed to fix matches in the Lanka Premier League back in 2021. He's been given 14 days to respond to the charges. In football, uncertainty looms over Lionel Messi's possible return to Barcelona. According to media reports, Messi's father and manager are preferring the offer from Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal. The Saudi club allegedly offered Messi more than $55 million per year if he joins. Messi is set to become a free agent on the 30th of June. He will not be continuing with his current club, Paris Saint-Germain. Spanish authorities have arrested 7 people over alleged hate crime against Real Madrid player Vinicius Jr. Of the 7, 3 were charged for racist attacks on Vinicius during the match against Valencia FC on Sunday. Meanwhile, the remaining 4 were charged in connection with the hanging of an effigy of Vinicius back in January. Valencia have been penalized for the conduct of their fans against Real Madrid and Vinicius Jr. They've been fined over $48,000 by the Spanish Football Federation. The club's south stand has been partially closed for the next 5 matches. In Formula One, Honda will become Aston Martin's engine partner in 2026, making a full-scale return. Honda had officially withdrawn from the sport in 2021. The Honda-Aston Martin partnership comes as F1 looks to begin a new power unit era in 2026. In the new era, F1 cars will have to use 100% sustainable fuels. This would enable Formula One to become carbon neutral by 2030. In tennis, world number 5 Stefanos Tsitsipas has parted ways with his coach Mark Philippoussis. This comes just days before the French Open begins on the 28th of May. The 46-year-old coach took Greece's Tsitsipas under his wing last season. After the split, he called his association with the Greek player a great ride. Indian tennis veteran Rohan Bopanna has climbed back into the top 10 doubles rankings. 43-year-old Bopanna is now ranked 9th. He began this year's season placed 19th and jumped 10 spots after winning the ATP 1000 Masters in March. Bopanna has returned to the top 10 rankings after a gap of 7 years. In badminton, Indian shuttlers dominated on day 2 of this year's Malaysia Masters. Srikanth Kidambi beat his French opponent to advance to the round of 16. Later in the day, PV Sindhu defeated her Danish opponent to enter the pre-quarterfinals. Sindhu is aiming to clinch her 3rd consecutive Malaysian Masters title. In basketball, Boston Celtics beat Miami Heat in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Celtics dominated Heat 116-99 to keep their playoff hopes alive. Jason Tatum scored 33 points to secure Boston's victory. However, Miami still lead Boston 3-1 in the best-of-7 series. They're just 1 win away from reaching the NBA Finals. Moving on to entertainment, Money Heist fame actor Alvaro Morte has signed a multi-year deal with Sony Pictures Television. Morte will develop English-language scripted series exclusively for the company. The projects developed under the deal will be produced and distributed by Sony. Mystery drama series BREA is set to return to Australia to film its 3rd season. The production will take place in Queensland. With this, the show is expected to employ 200 staff and use 300 local businesses. Moreover, it's expected to contribute over $25 million to Queensland's economy. Game show Deal or No Deal is set to return to Spain after a hiatus of 12 years. It'll also mark the return of the show's original host, Jesus Vasquez. He presented the show between 2004 and 2008. The news comes shortly after the UK return of the popular game show was announced. Iconic movie memorabilia from film franchises like Batman, Star Wars and Harry Potter are part of an upcoming auction. Batman's BATPOD motorcycle, Princess Leia's dress and Harry Potter's distressed costume are among the 1,400 items. The auction will take place in Los Angeles between the 28th and 30th of June. Moreover, a preview exhibition of the items will be held in California from May 29th to June 20th. K-pop band Astro's Cha Yeon-woo has become the 2023-2024 Visit Korea Year Ambassador. The appointment was made by the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and the Korea Tourism Organization. Cha Yeon-woo will participate in Korean tourism roadshows and online campaigns. He'll work towards improving global awareness of K-culture. K-pop band Moonstar's I.M has dropped the tracklist for his new album Overdrive. The album contains 6 songs. Overdrive will be I.M's second extended play album. It'll release on the 23rd of June. All-girl group aespa has become the first Korean band to attend the Cannes Film Festival. They attended the festival in their role as global ambassadors for Swiss jewelry brand Chopard. Cannes red carpet also had Korean singer Jennie, who was there for the show The Idol. K-pop band New Jeans has been named among the 2023 Next Generation Leaders by Time magazine. The all-girl group released their debut album in August 2022. The band became the fastest Korean act ever to hit 1 billion Spotify streams. This was within just 219 days of their debut. In August, they'll become the first K-pop girl group to perform at the music festival Lollapalooza. Music festival Global Citizen has set Paris as the venue for this year's concert. Singers Billie Eilish, Jon Batiste and Lenny Kravitz feature in the lineup. The concert will be live-streamed on the 22nd of June. The aim of the festival this year is to press governments and the World Bank to act upon climate change. The date and venue for the concert were chosen to coincide with the summit for a new global financial pact being held in Paris. Rapper Ice Cube is the latest celebrity to voice concerns about AI-generated music. He has called AI demonic and said that he doesn't want to hear AI-generated songs. He added that he would sue anyone who makes anything AI-generated featuring his voice. Earlier, music producer Pete Rock and singer Sting had warned against the influence of AI on music. That's all for this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.